This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Well. How are you guys doing on this fine freaking Thursday evening? I am not high enough for this shit. The news gimp! Somebody let the news gimp out! Were you afraid it would be an imitator, an imposter? No, this is the authentic deal here. I normally wouldn't have the Christmas graphics up after Christmas, but you guys didn't get to see them. We didn't get the Christmas countdown. Though I tried. My original plan was to do a Christmas Eve special and then watch old. I tried my best, but there was no power in this apartment for over a week. Because I didn't realize the power company would be closed on the Friday before Christmas. But it's all good. It worked out. We're back. We're here. Hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas. I got really high and watched Christmas Vacation. And then I watched Christmas Story on Christmas Eve. Watched Elf and A Muppet's Christmas Carol on Christmas Day. Can't get any better than that. How are you doing, my American bros? God, that's really racist. I've only been back on for less than 2.5 minutes. I've already done something really racist. We're back, baby. We're back. Shouldn't have let the news gimp out. Oh God, what was the joke I made to Chip the other day? Oh, I had to do a video for a company called Bangkok Day Tours. And I was telling my friend Chip about it. And I was like, well, there was an absence of ladyboys from the Bangkok Day Tours. If I was to go to Bangkok, I would want some ladyboys. Like, well, maybe that's the Bangkok Night Tours. That's where I'm not gonna do the whole joke. Yes, control myself. I don't want to get banned from any platform. Welcome. Good evening. Chip asked me when Elf was made, and I was like, 2007, 2008. I looked it up. 2003. It was like a post 9/11 movie. I couldn't believe it was all, because for some reason I thought it was the later 2000s, but I'd only seen it once, so because of my memory issues, it was like I was watching it for the first time, and it was really good. Anyway, here's your meme of the day. Did you know Metallica's Black Album contains 3 subtle nods to libertarianism? Cover depicts the snake from the Gadsden flag. Track called Don't Tread on Me. And the whole album is fucking garbage. Shelly, good evening. Dustin, Warlord, Mitochondria. Welcome everybody. I've missed all of you. Thank you to everyone who has reached out, asked how I was doing, commented on the YouTube, telling me you missed me and that you love me. I love you guys. Programming note. We're going to do a New Year's special on New Year's Eve. We'll do a little bit of news. Then we'll probably go off on YouTube. Richard, good evening. We're probably going to go off on YouTube, go on D Live, and then we'll watch the countdown together if you want to. We did that last year. We watched, I'm partial to And Justice for All. We watched the countdown last year with Miley Cyrus and Dolly Parton. I think it's Miley again this year, isn't it? I haven't even checked. What that news be doing? No, really, I'm asking you guys what that news be doing. I don't know. I have not paid attention for the last month. We're going to get to that, Dustin. Trump back on the ballot in Colorado. Pending a ruling from the Supreme Court. Trump not removed from the ballot in Michigan. We're going to get into all that. We are just a few weeks away from the Republican primary. Oh, programming note. We're doing New Year's Eve. I've got some, end of the year kind of stories for the Troll Patrol on New Year's Eve, 8 o'clock like usual. Probably go off around 10, come back on. May not even leave Kick. Who knows? We'll see how it plays out. This is on Sunday night. New Year's Eve is on Sunday night. Then we'll watch the countdown and shit. On Monday, you get a special Best of 2023 Troll Patrol. I will not be live. You will get a Best of show on YouTube, D Live, and Kick. So it'll be on YouTube, D Live, and Kick at 8 p.m. Monday. Same troll time, same troll channel. Oh my God, this coffee's so good. We got a lot of shit to get to tonight. One of the things that happened in the last month, I got COVID. Chances are you probably got COVID because everybody getting COVID, including our favorite senator. The senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders, has COVID. COVID cases are on the rise, along with RSV, along with several other respiratory illnesses. We'll get into all that. Nikki Haley under fire for her comments about the Civil War. Speaking of shitty female Republican politicians, Lauren Boebert, who I predicted would lose her seat, and she would have if she had stayed in the district that she currently represents, but she is switching districts to a much more Republican district in hopes of being able to retain her seat. Judge in Georgia has approved a new congressional map drawn by Republicans. Speaking of Georgia Republicans, several of them, not just Marjorie Taylor Greene, have been swatted. Marjorie Taylor Greene reporting that her daughter has been swatted. Senator Rick Scott from Florida reporting that he has been swatted. Now, as somebody pointed out on the YouTube, Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't actually get swatted. The cops were called. The cops called her security detail. Nobody came out to her house. That's not swatting. Where SWAT was involved was a standoff with a semi-truck in Houston. This is wild. We have video of this. This standoff took place yesterday. Apparently another standoff happened in a rural part of Texas earlier today. New Hampshire firefighter, or former New Hampshire firefighter, charged with arson. That's actually far more common than you might believe. Or you'd totally believe it. It kind of makes sense. If you're a pyromaniac, you may want to be a firefighter. The University of Idaho demolishing the house where 4 college students were murdered. Would have been in 2022, right? Would have been like the fall of 2022. Was it Brian Koberger, currently on trial for those murders? The university demolishing the house despite pleas from the families, the victims' families. A man was rescued from underneath an Indiana bridge. I don't know anything about this story, but several people on my Facebook feed have been talking about it. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, apparently, I think there was a Netflix documentary made about her, and her mom was incredibly abusive, put her through like medical torture her entire life. She ends up killing her mom. She was released from prison earlier today. Video of her walking out. The New York Times suing ChatGPT and OpenAI. I don't actually know the details of that one. We're going to get that one. We're going to find out together. A video has gone viral of a trans actress getting into an argument with a Delta employee at LaGuardia Airport, New York City. North Carolina restaurant has been sued over altering photos, something to do with a drag show. I'm not exactly sure what the story is, but we're going to find out. Bridget Ziegler. Don't know who Bridget Ziegler is? Apparently she's got some naughty tapes. She is the head of Moms for Liberty, the wife of the Florida GOP chairman. They held a school board meeting about her, and a student smacked her down, and we've got video of that. And we can't get out of here without doing a couple of Christmas stories. A six-year-old had a Home Alone pulled on him. That's all I'm going to do for that teaser. Got wild video of a Santa tackling a robber. Plus, we're going to check in the puppies at Mo Mountain Mutts. The puppy bus. We're going to find out what puppy bus did for Christmas. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol live. God damn, Warlord, how many messages did you just send in a row? Dance, Dustin, dance. Good evening. Hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas. Welcome. Let me get a little bit more high before we start discussing foreign affairs. That's what we're starting off with tonight, so I'm sure you all can guess what that's going to be about. I'm not going to try to catch up on all the stories that we missed while I was away. We'll do that on Sunday night. Couple things that happened. George Santos expelled from Congress. Something we'll talk about on Sunday night. That was a pretty big one. He's going to do a tell-all eventually. Is it going to be a podcast? Is it going to be a book? I'd buy it. I'd buy the book. I'd listen to the podcast. I can't wait to hear it. Tell us, George Santos. Tell us everything you know. I'm about out on this cartridge. Like I'm sucking on it pretty hard. That's what she said. I deserve a titty slap for that.
A titty slap! What the? Give me those titties, come on now.
I can't tell you what else happened because I didn't really keep up with the news. And let me tell you, it's nice. It's nice to not know what's going on in the world. Israel's still killing innocent people. Aw, thank you, Natochondria. I appreciate that. You guys showed so much love to me in my absence. Glad to be back. Glad to be... You guys need a cat. Which one? All three of them are over here. Let's get one. The Maynard. To Maynard. God, you're so mouthy. He's actually buff. He is deceptive. He looks fat, but he is when he flexes. DJ Dub. Good evening. I'm sorry. I am sorry I was not here. It was supposed to be Christmas Eve. Unfortunately, it did not happen. Where is my Maynard drop? There we go. I figured it would be sooner, but it was... If I had made one phone call on Thursday the 21st, if I had made one phone call, I would have been back on Christmas. But nope, my dumb ass, we're riding back. Trip we took, and I was like, I should go ahead and call the power company. It'd be a lot easier if I had bills in front of me and everything. The state of Alabama sent me $150. That's cool. That's the nicest thing the state of Alabama has ever done for me. Oh, some kind of tax rebate. I was like, I didn't even pay taxes in Alabama last year. Apparently it was for 2021. So, cool. Yes, we will be voting red in 2024. We're going to vote for any communist or socialist candidates that are running. Though I don't know that there's that many. Let me get just a little bit more high, and then we'll do this horrendous news. I hate to come back, be laughing, oh, I had a Merry Christmas, and then, oh yeah, Israel's still killing innocent Palestinians. Because of course they are. Fetterman made the naughty list. I still haven't got the hang of this thing. It's amazing. I can sit here and I don't have my bong down here. You can't really have Christmas if you're bombing Bethlehem now, can you? I got a cat throwing up. I heard it. It was very loud. Let me tell you, Socks was on top of me this morning. Gets on my chest. And he's like making biscuits and everything. He's getting comfortable. And then he kind of starts like... I'm like, you're not going to throw up right in my face, are you? I had to get him off of me. And then he came over here and threw up on the floor. I'm like, dude, how dare you? Anyway. Anybody had anything interesting happen to them? You want some cat throwing up in my face content? Trying to think if anything interesting happened to me. Nope, not really. Been a pretty uneventful last month. Also, does not feel like it happened. to me, like the last month just did not happen. There was a rare UK tornado. Wow, Warlord. Purgatorus. Good evening. So glad to see everyone raising that leftist fist. Still got the Christmas decorations up for one more night. We'll have the New Year's decorations up next time I see you guys. We had an outbreak of tornadoes here. Killed a bunch of people in Tennessee. I don't want to say a bunch of people. I think it was a handful. I don't want to exaggerate. Venus! Good evening! Salty Bridge, Flash! I knew you guys would come back. Salty Bridge Tornado. Yes, I know it doesn't say Salty Bridge. I like Salty Bridge better. Was a whirlwind of madness. That don't look too bad. Spider Pickle. All around me are familiar faces. What, did it only get one house? Like, it destroyed an entire block in Tennessee. I mean, not the same tornado, clearly. Speaking of destroyed stuff, Israel expanding its fighting has been conducting operations in the West Bank as well as the Gaza Strip. Shows no sign of letting up, unfortunately. I'm going to hit the content warning. But pressure is mounting for a ceasefire. U.S. houses are made of hopes and prayers. Fair enough, fair enough.
CBS News has learned a 7-year-old Israeli-American woman previously believed to be taken hostage by Hamas was actually killed during the initial attack. An Israeli spokesperson says it's believed Judy Weinstein Haggai's body was taken into Gaza after she was killed on October 7th. Officials confirmed last week her husband...
Killed by whom is the question. Because it might not have been Hamas. Might very well have been the IDF.
Husband was also killed during the attack. His body is also believed to be in Gaza. BBC News correspondent Shaima Khalil joins me now from Jerusalem with more. Shaima, thank you for making time. I want to start with asking you about the IDF now expanding its ground offensive near refugee camps in Gaza. So where are those civilians going?
They never said who killed them, so should I go ahead and assume it was the IDF because they didn't say it? If it was Hamas, they would have said it, right? Also, don't forget to condemn them.
Be condemned.
Well, that's the really difficult question, Chanel. We are talking about an area that is very densely populated, mainly 3 refugee camps in central Gaza, Al-Maghazi, Al-Nusayrat, and Al-Bureij. These are the areas that are going to be directly affected. The UN human rights agencies and refugee agencies are saying that about 150,000 people are now affected by this, people on the move. Keep in mind that many people who have taken shelter in these refugee camps in central Gaza have been fleeing or have fled the fighting in the north, so they will be twice displaced. The problem is, as they go further south, they are being met with further bombardment in areas, for example, like Khan Yunis or Rafah. So as the military operation continues to deepen, continues to expand, Gazans are running out of safe places to go.
Shaima, let's talk about that deadly Christmas refugee camp strike. What more have we learned about what happened there?
Fucking Bethlehem!
That's right. We've heard from an Israeli military official today who acknowledged that the wrong munition was used in that strike against Al-Maghazi camp, one of the 3 refugee camps we were just talking about. That strike happened on Christmas Eve, and according to the Hamas-run health ministry, between 70 and 86 people were killed in that strike. That number is likely to rise because bodies are still being pulled from the rubble. The Israeli military officials said that they had struck 2 adjacent areas where Hamas operatives were, or that they knew they were, and other buildings were hit. He said that the munition was not did not match that particular strike, and he said that they regretted that people who were not involved were killed, and this extensive collateral damage that, in their words, could have been avoided.
We're over 10,000 children now. I do believe I've seen that number.
Fluid situation. Shaima Khalil, thanks for your reporting. We appreciate this.
So that's the goings on in Israel currently. Still besieging Gaza, mowing it down, making way for condominiums and resorts, I'm sure. Over 100 journalists. I didn't know the number was that high. Jesus Christ. I condemn Israel. Can I do that? I don't ever hear anybody do that. I condemn Israel.
He condemn.
Now, one of the things that has happened since the... Are you calling me anti-Semitic? I mean, it's not like I haven't been called anti-Semitic over and over and over again throughout this. One of the things that has happened since the Israel bombardment of Gaza has been that we don't talk about Ukraine anymore. There is still a war going on in Ukraine. And apparently, it ain't going well for Ukraine anymore. Russia has claimed to seize the city of Marinka.
What do we know about this drone attack? Is it retaliation from that strike on that ship?
Yeah, good afternoon, Simon. I mean, overnight, Russia launched this huge wave of missile and drone attacks on Ukraine. Apparently 46 combination of drones, cruise missiles and the like. Ukrainian claims they shot down 32. Here's an example of what they claim they shot down. What you can see here is the very familiar triangular shape of the Shahid 136 drone, which is that Iranian supplied drone. One of the challenges is Russia often target the critical energy infrastructure of Ukraine. But even when these things are shot down, they still tumble into buildings and the like, cause devastation. But it's no coincidence that actually Russia is almost certainly retribution, because literally a couple of days ago, Ukraine managed to successfully attack a landing vessel at Feodosia, a port in Crimea. We're seeing the explosion here. It was a massive explosion of a Russian landing ship. Almost certainly this ship was packed full of explosives in some way, whether it's ammunition or bombs or whatever. Now, the Russians, amazingly, admits that this thing has been damaged. Here's a before picture. We're looking at the picture just here. That's the vessel. And there we go. That's it, damaged, apparently. It's been obliterated. There's nothing there. So typical Russian understatement. Now, the Russians, they shot down two of the fighter jets that were involved, Ukrainian fighter jets involved in this attack, which, of course, Ukraine denies. Grant Shapps, the defense secretary, has been used as an example of how the Ukrainians have destroyed 20% of Russia's Black Sea fleet, that they're on the front foot, and that actually the Ukraine war isn't stuck in some sort of frozen conflict at the moment.
And happening on Christmas Day as well. I'm sure that was planned maybe as a certain sort of landmark. Let's talk about Marinka. How significant is that claim that Russia has that they've seized that city?
Despite the fact we can talk about ships, we can talk about tanks getting destroyed and the like, but ultimately the only metrics of success in this war are territory. And bluntly, the Ukrainians have been going since June with their spring offensive, and the front lines haven't moved that much. Meanwhile, the Russians have been focused on the Donbass. That's clearly been their priority. If you remember back the battle for Bakhmut lasting almost a year, literally 30,000 deaths as a result of their onslaught there. Since then, we've seen the fight around Avdiivka, just around here for the last 2 or 3 months, and Marinka has been the other area of intense fighting. On Christmas Day, the Russians claimed that they'd finally seized Marinka. Ukraine said they hadn't. 24 hours later, Valery Zaluzhny, who's the head of the Ukrainian armed forces, admitted that they have actually withdrawn from Marinka itself. Now, that's really important because Russia has put a huge amount of effort into the seizing the Donbass. These towns, are a pathway to seizing this. And I suspect, even though it's a small tactical victory, Russia will feel very emboldened by this, the seizure of that strategically important town.
And speculation, of course, but where do you think this conflict moves now?
Well, what we have to remember is Ukraine is the David to Russia's Goliath, and without Western aid continuing to flow, Ukraine would struggle. Now, you remember the EU can't yet approve funding for next year. Hungary stood in the way. Russian Congress is standing firm as well. And it's very difficult to see either side ending up victorious as a result of this. So actually, we do see both sides need to refresh their military capability. We're into some sort of frozen conflict. The West will start piling on pressure on both sides now to come to some sort of negotiated agreement. That will be deeply uncomfortable with President Zelensky. But ultimately, if the war's frozen, what other options are there?
Sean, fascinating as always. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Now, there was talk that a Russian envoy had made its way to D.C. I believe it was last week. And the scuttlebutt was that they were there to negotiate a settlement. I have not seen anything come of that. Now, my worry is that we're not going to come to a negotiation in Ukraine, and it's just going to devolve into a whole regional conflict. Here's what I'm talking about. Iran held a funeral for a general who was killed by an alleged Israeli airstrike in Syria. We're just talking about Iran's involvement with Russia. Iran held a funeral on Thursday for a high-ranking general of the paramilitary Revolutionary Guard who was killed by an alleged Israeli airstrike in Syria. Why? Why is Israel striking Syria? Israel seems like they want to expand the war into Lebanon. Hundreds of mourners accompanied the flag-draped casket of General Razi Mousavi from a central square of Tehran to a shrine in the north of the city where he was buried. The head of the guard, General Hussein Salami. I'd really like an Italian, is it a BMT? It's got the fucking salami and ham and... General Salami. Capicola. Oh, goddamn, this shit's so good. I love those fancy Italian meats. I'm sorry, General Salami. That just threw me off. The head of the guard, General Salami. Oh, hold on, we're going to be talking about Pooh Bear next, Purgators. If I could stop laughing about General Salami. Salami. The head of the guard, General Salami, praised Mousavi and vowed his death would be avenged. We will never keep silent in the face of martyrdom of the sons of this nation, Salami said. Our revenge will be tough as always, but a revenge that could compensate for... I'm sorry. We will never keep silent in the face of martyrdom of the sons of this nation, Salami said. Our revenge will be tough as always, but a revenge that could compensate for the martyrdom of Syed Razi is nothing but the removal of Israel from the face of existence. Now, right-wingers will jump onto that and be like, see, they want to wipe Israel off the map. But you never hear any right-wingers talk about how Israel wants to wipe Gaza off the map. General Salami. I apologize. I get hung up on people's names. Meanwhile, speaking of Pooh Bear, North Korean President Kim Jong-un attended a ruling party's year-end meeting and apparently told the party to prepare for war in the coming year. North Korean state broadcaster KRT has shown video of leader Kim Jong-un attending the year-end meeting of its ruling Workers' Party. Opening the meeting, Kim praised what he called achievements and victories that strengthened national power this year. Meeting is expected to last several days to review state projects this year and establish new national objectives for next year. Experts said that during the meeting, North Korea would likely hype its progress in arms development as it lacks economic achievements. Meeting comes a week after North Korea launched its most advanced intercontinental ballistic missile designed to strike the mainland U.S. Now, Un has been getting cozy with Putin. What was about this time last year? We saw him feed salmon to each other. Did I just... Oh, Battle Opossum! Good evening! Battle Opossum called me right before I came on. I was like, I ain't got time for you. Get ready for the show. Said, yeah, I didn't know you were back. Well, I just came back. Back now. I'm not going to fat shame him. I'm getting fat. I'm a little tubby. Let me tell you, I had Red Lobster on Christmas Day. That was my Christmas meal, was I had Red Lobster. And it was a pick 3 shrimp. And one of the kinds of shrimp I had was fucking amazing. The other two were just I should have got all 3 that same like dragon shrimp or something. It had the shrimp by itself was fucking awesome, but then it had this like chili sauce that you dipped it in, and it was even better. Yeah, like the lotto. Now you got to pick like 3 different kinds of scramp. I got like grilled on a skewer, and then I got some pasta. But I should just got all that fucking dragon shrimp. Was amazing. I'm still raving about that goddamn shrimp. Yeah, then I got pizza delivered the other day. I don't know. Did I tell you guys that every time the pizza delivery girl comes, I shouldn't say girl because she looks about my age, I would assume. Very cute. She's probably been here 10, 15 times. I always feel like she's flirting with me. She came the other day. She brought me my calzone and my buffalo wings. She seemed a little standoffish. I was like, oh, well, maybe she's not flirting with me. Maybe I was just making that up. I get in here, and she gave me 2 extra wings. She gave me an extra cup of blue cheese. And I'm like, ooh. I was wondering, Purgatorius. I was like, that's probably not as racist as a lot of things I've said. But I was like 2 minutes into the show, I was already being racist over here. She hooked me up, so maybe like I asked Sparkles, I was like, do you think she knows my address? Because I do order from there, every 2 or 3 weeks probably. I like that place. I like their calzones. Their calzones are so good. Yeah, of all the autocorrects, that was a horrible autocorrect. But I'm not getting offended. Cancel Purgatorius. I'm not one to judge, believe me. Oh, shit. Anyway, I'm very lucky that I did not lose my sense of taste. A friend that I had dinner with on Christmas, he lost his sense of taste when he had COVID. Or at least a little bit. He said everything tasted funky. Curiouser lost her sense of taste. She's recovering from COVID now. I think she's over it, but she had COVID. Everybody got the COVID.
Under the weather, you are not alone. The flu, RSV, and COVID all going around, and cases continue to increase amid holiday gatherings.
In fact, the feds have classified New Jersey as being high for respiratory diseases. Action News reporter Caroline Goggin is live in Center City tonight. Caroline, what are the experts saying here locally?
Well, Christy and Gray here at Jefferson Hospital in Center City, a doctor tells me that it's pretty common for cases of respiratory illnesses to rise this time of year. He says right now, especially in Philadelphia, the main concern is the flu. The most wonderful time of the year is also a popular time to get sick. The CDC says 23 states, including New Jersey, are currently seeing high or very high levels of respiratory illness activity. People dealing with the flu, COVID, and RSV.
This is what we should be seeing, I think. Doesn't make it any more pleasant.
Over the past month, the CDC is reporting a 200% increase in flu-related hospitalizations, a 60% spike in those for RSV, and a more than 50% increase in hospitalizations for COVID-19.
A couple of reasons why. It's colder, we move closer, that increases transmission. There's evidence that COVID reduces our immune response, which can make us more susceptible to infection.
In New Jersey, the state considers its flu activity to be at a moderate level, with more than 12,000 cases reported since October. In Pennsylvania, data shows flu cases and ER visits for the flu are rapidly increasing. Almost 33,000 cases have been reported since October.
What we're seeing right now in Philadelphia and nationwide is a rather significant increase in influenza A.
Dr. John Zerlo, the chief of infectious diseases at Jefferson, says the flu can be especially problematic for people over the age of 60 who have pre-existing medical issues. When it comes to RSV, state data shows cases are high, but they're coming down.
So I think we peaked probably in the mid to late fall. So we've been seeing a decline in the RSV cases.
Doctors are warning people to assess their own risks when gathering with loved ones this holiday season. And over at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, they've actually issued a recommendation to patients and their families, warning them to wear a mask when they go to their doctor's appointments because of the rise of viral illnesses. We are live in Center City. I'm Caroline Goggin, Channel 6 Action News. Christy? Yep.
We are coming up on the 3rd anniversary of Ashley Babbitt being clean. Horrible of me. Horrible. I was on a call with a client, I guess not last week, but 2 weeks ago. And he was an anti-vaxxer, and he told me, oh, COVID kicked my ass. I was down for 10 days. And I was like, dude, I just had it. I'm vaxxed, and I bounced back like I slept for a day. Next day, I'm up just fine. I'm working again. What does that tell you? I think they've quit. I think the CDC has quit tracking it, Venus. I don't think we have running data the way we did in like 2021. Unfortunately. I would say they have a bunch of stats up there, but they're not live tracking it like daily the way they were. They're probably doing it weekly or monthly now, which is absurd. We are such a stupid fucking country. Hopefully, our favorite presidential candidate of like the last fucking 50 years, or at least mine for sure, is going to be okay as he suffers from a bout of COVID. Senator Bernie Sanders tests positive for COVID-19 during the Senate break as infections rise nationally. Senator Bernie Sanders said on Thursday he tested positive for COVID-19 amid a nationwide spike. The 82-year-old Sanders said in a post on Twitter he was experiencing minimal symptoms and will continue to isolate while working from his home in Vermont. Motherfucker's still working during Christmas break. I'm glad to be fully up to date with the vaccine, Sanders wrote. Senate finished its legislative business for the year last week and won't be returning for votes until January 8th. The U.S. is seeing elevated levels of respiratory illness this winter, and the Northeast is experiencing the highest levels of viral activity, according to the most recent Centers for Disease Control and Prevention wastewater data. So the map we just saw on the news piece showed the Northeast not looking too bad, but apparently the wastewater shows they have the highest levels of activity. You know, hopefully Bernie is going to be okay. Sure would have liked to have seen him run in the primary this year, but you know, can't always get what you want. I understand why he sat it out. We are coming up on voting in the first primaries here in just a few weeks. Glad to be back with you guys for this. I think we've got one more debate coming up too. Sorry I missed a debate. Did anybody watch it? Did anything happen? I didn't even see any clips of it or anything, but once again, I was kind of unplugged. Exactly, Dustin. I mean, it would have been a protest candidate, an issue candidate this time. But I still would have supported him. Fortunately, the only real primary we're getting is on the GOP side, and Trump been running away with it.
Well, with the first presidential primary contest just weeks away, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley is in cleanup mode after getting backlash for comments made about the Civil War.
Meantime, former President Donald Trump, still the GOP frontrunner, faces up to 5 trials during the campaign year. NBC's Dan Scheneman has the latest from the campaign trail.
GOP White House hopeful Nick.
Now, I don't know. There has been one of the stories that's happened while in my absence has been Jack Smith filing for the Supreme Court to rule on the question of if a president can be tried. The Supreme Court did not hear the case. So that looks like it may delay the trial set to begin in March. So we don't actually know how many trials Trump will actually face in 2024.
Nikki Haley on defense after she was asked a simple question Wednesday on the campaign trail. What was the cause of the United States Civil War?
I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do.
No mention of slavery. That forced the former South Carolina governor to clean up and clarify her thoughts.
The freedoms of what people could and couldn't do. Like slaves, Nikki? Nimarata?
During an appearance at a New Hampshire radio station.
Of course, the Civil War was about slavery. We know that. That's the easy part of it. What I was saying was, what does it mean to us today? What it means to us today is about freedom. That's what that was all about.
Haley's GOP rival, Ron DeSantis, quick to respond.
She's asked a very simple question and responded with just a really incomprehensible word salad.
The Florida governor may be hoping the controversy slows Haley's recent momentum. Polls show her surging.
This could have been a great moment for her to say, like, I come from the South. This is what we've learned. And instead, it is this panic. What do you want me to say about slavery?
All the GOP candidates desperately trying to gain ground on the frontrunner, former President Trump. He's trying to stay on the ballot in Colorado. The state's Republicans asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn a ruling removing the former president from the state's primary ballot. Trump will be on the ballot in Michigan. That state's high court rejected a challenge to keep Trump off the ballot in that state. The time to sway voters is running out. The Iowa caucuses are less than 3 weeks away. Dan Scheneman, NBC News.
Thank you, Dan. That kind of covered several of the stories I was going to talk about next. Let's do them real fast here. In Colorado, Trump getting a win earlier today.
Plaintiffs in the Colorado Trump ballot ban case are requesting the Supreme Court expedite its review of an appeal filed by the state's Republican Party. The Colorado GOP is challenging the state's Supreme Court ruling that found former President Donald Trump ineligible for the presidency due to his role in the January 6 riots. In their appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, attorneys for Colorado Republicans argue this decision fundamentally changes the course of American democracy. They also say this ruling will throw courts into similar controversies over accusations of insurrection if it's not overturned. In last week's 4-3 decision, Colorado's highest court found Trump cannot hold public office under the Constitution's so-called insurrection clause. This marked the first time a court determined a presidential candidate to be ineligible for the White House under this provision. CBS News campaign reporter Katrina Kaufman joins us now to discuss. Katrina, where does this case stand right now, and what happens next?
Yes, so the case, as you said, has been appealed to the Supreme Court now. And basically, when the Colorado Supreme Court made their decision to disqualify Trump from holding office or being on the ballot, they had put a stay on it until January 4th. The GOP's appeal has now made it so that Trump is going to stay on the primary ballot unless the Supreme Court makes a decision otherwise. And both the petitioners and the GOP have asked the court to act quickly, so we'll find out hopefully soon if the Supreme Court is going to take up this case. If they don't, then the Colorado Supreme Court decision would stay.
And I want to ask more about that because just yesterday, the Michigan Supreme Court actually rejected a bid to remove former President Trump from the state's ballot. So why did this court reach a totally different decision from Colorado?
Sure. I think it's really important to emphasize that the Michigan decision is on totally different grounds. It's a procedural decision. They basically determined that the court doesn't have the ability to take a candidate off the ballot at this time. It's really up to the party to put forward their nominee for the primary ballot. And in Michigan, the petitioners can revisit this before the general election. So this wasn't a decision on the merits. They didn't make any determination about whether Donald Trump engaged in insurrection. They just said that they can't take him off the ballot at this moment in time.
And conversations like this, Katrina, are happening in many states across the country. What other state Supreme Courts are still weighing Trump's eligibility for president?
So there is a case pending in Oregon. Minnesota has also denied in the Supreme Court the disqualification, but
Oregon?
Similarly to Michigan, the petitioners there can revisit before the general election as well. But what we're really watching today is Maine. In Maine, there's a quirk in the law where the Secretary of State actually makes this determination initially. So
Warlord heard it too.
To the Secretary of State. She held hearings a few weeks ago, and we've heard that probably sometime tonight we're going to find out what her decision is.
Okay, a really fascinating process here. Katrina Kaufman, thanks for breaking this down for us.
Yes, that decision in Maine coming down in just the last couple of hours. Why Maine removed Trump from the 2024 ballot. Maine on Thursday became the second state to remove former President Trump from the 2024 ballot. The Trump campaign has vowed to challenge the decision of Maine Secretary of State Sheena Bellows, who was responding to residents who argued that the 2024 Republican presidential primary frontrunner was ineligible to run due to the 14th Amendment. I thought we were going to get a little breakdown, but we did not. Thank you, Axios. The state's decision increases the pressure on the U.S. Supreme Court to make a ruling on whether the former president can be removed from ballots in the 2024 election. I think they're going to kick it down the road. I don't think they're going to actually rule on it and tell us one way or the other. They declined to hear the case, what, 2 weeks ago? Week and a half ago? I think they're going to try to stay out of it for as long as they can. But I mean, if states keep removing him, then they're going to have to rule on it eventually. It's a question. And the Jack Smith, the ruling in the Jack Smith case on whether a president can be prosecuted or not. Supreme Court. You gotta weigh in on this shit. We gotta have these questions answered. And expediently. Chris Christie says, very possible that Donald Trump will burn the country to the ground.
Some people say I should drop out of this race. Really? I'm the only one.
They're polling at like 1%, dude. Seriously.
saying Donald Trump is a liar. He pits Americans against each other. His Christmas message to anyone who disagrees with him, rotten hell. He caused a riot on Capitol.
Yes, that was fantastic. Did you guys see Trump's Christmas message? Holy shit. It was one of his many Truth Socials that day. It is hilarious. Oh, the fucking Kevin Spacey video. We'll play that on Sunday night. Is this even the right one? See, there were multiple. There were multiple. Okay. The way Salon wrote this, I wish I just got the actual truth. What do you call it when you post on Truth? Your truth? He truthed out. I don't even know how to say it properly. Hold on here. Let me get you the real article here. Merry Christmas to all, including crooked Joe Biden's only hope, deranged Jack Smith, the out-of-control lunatic who just hired outside attorneys, fresh from the swamp, unprecedented, to help him with his poorly executed witch hunt against Trump and MAGA. Included also are world leaders, both good and bad, but none of which are as evil and sick as the thugs we have inside our country, who, with their open borders, inflation, Afghanistan surrender, green new scam, high taxes, no energy independence, woke military, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, all electric car lunacy, and so much more are looking to destroy our great USA. May they rot in hell. Again, Merry Christmas. May they rot in hell. Again, Merry Christmas. Oh my God. He's so fucking funny. If only he wasn't such a danger to this country, I could go back to laughing at him. I used to love laughing at Trump. But it stopped being funny. A few days ago, I watched that South Park episode. The one where Mr. Garrison's like, fuck them all to death. Where he first becomes Trump. And like Canada had elected a Trump-like figure, and they're like, "We thought it was funny. It's not funny anymore." A delightful and inspiring Christmas message. The world is absurd, right, Chris Christie?
Some people say I should drop out of this race. Really? I'm the only one saying Donald Trump is a liar. He pits Americans against each other. His Christmas message to anyone who disagrees with him, rotten hell. He caused a riot on Capitol Hill. He'll burn America to the ground to help himself. Every Republican leader says that in private. I'm the only one saying it in public. What kind of president do we want? A liar or someone who's got the guts to tell the truth? New Hampshire, it's up to you. I'm Chris Christie, and you bet I approve this message. Some people.
You still don't stand a chance, dude. Not a fucking chance. Neither did Lauren Boebert in the district that she currently represents. That's why, as of today, she has switched congressional districts. She's going to avoid a Democratic opponent who has far outraised her and who almost beat her last time with zero name recognition. Adam Fresh. Republican Representative Lauren Boebert announced on Wednesday she is switching congressional districts, avoiding a likely rematch against the Democrat who has far outraised her and following an embarrassing moment of groping and vaping that shook even loyal supporters. In a Facebook video on Wednesday evening, Boebert announced she would enter the crowded Republican primary in retiring Representative Ken Buck's seat in the eastern side of the state, leaving the more competitive 3rd District seat she barely won last year and which is in peril of losing this next year, as some in her party have soured on her controversial style. There's a video. Hold on. Video, we gotta watch it. I'm on her Facebook page. Here we go. I don't see a video. She's taking it down. That's why I don't see a video, because The Guardian had a link to it. How does this happen? Yeah, there is no video anymore. I tried. You can always watch the video of her giving a dude a handy in a theater again. Speaking of congressional races, there's going to be a new majority black district in the state of Georgia. However, the map is more favorable to Republicans.
Georgia's new congressional maps have officially been approved. Earlier today, a federal judge accepted the Republican-drawn maps. He says lawmakers fixed the issues that he had with the original maps, which diluted the voices of black voters. So the new maps make some pretty big changes to congressional districts, including the one held by Representative Lucy McBath. She says if the maps stand for the 2024 election cycle, she now plans to run for re-election in Georgia's 6th district instead of the 7th. We also got a response today from Georgia's Senate Minority Leader who said, quote, the Republican maps discriminate against black voters and do not allow those voters to elect the candidates of their choice. She says while Democrats respect the judge's decision, they do plan to continue fighting to end what they call a cycle of partisan gerrymandering.
Well, it doesn't seem like it was a very long video, but let's give it a watch here. Oh, no, it is. It's 9 fucking minutes. Why?
I hope you had a great Christmas with your family and loved ones. I hope.
Why is she blurry?
And joy. After all, joy is not just a suggestion, it is our battle plan. Now for this video, let's get right to it. Today, I am announcing my candidacy for the 2024 Republican nomination to represent Colorado's 4th Congressional District in the United States House of Representatives. It's the right move for me personally, and it's the right decision for those.
Because she's currently in a +7 Republican district that she barely won. Ken Buck, the district that she is going to try to run in, is a +27 Republican district. That's why she's doing it.
Who support our conservative movement. This is the right move for Colorado, for us. Since the first day I ran for public office, I promised I would do whatever it takes to stop the socialists and communists from taking over our country. That means staying in the fight, but it also means not allowing Hollywood elites and progressive money groups to buy the 3rd District, a seat that they have no business owning. I will not allow dark money that is directed at destroying me personally to steal this seat. It's not fair to the 3rd District and the conservatives there who have fought so hard for our victories, of which I'm incredibly grateful.
That's a weird place to put a TV. Like I assume this is her kitchen. Like you got a TV up like it's above a bar or some shit. What the fuck?
Personally, this announcement is a fresh start following a pretty difficult year for me and my family. I had never been in politics before, and I'd never been through a divorce, something I never intended to go through. I've made my own personal mistakes and have owned up and apologized for them. It's tested my faith.
Yeah, the ring light glaring on her glasses is killing me. The monitor for the sex dungeon.
Challenging, but it's also given me perspective and helped me grow. I cannot put into words how
you live in
grateful I am
sexual
for everyone
anarchy.
who has steadfastly stood alongside of me in the 3rd District and across America. The relationships we have cultivated over the past few years are deeply cherished and unbreakable. 2024 is going to be tough. We cannot lose the 3rd, and Colorado's 4th District is hungry for an unapologetic defender of freedom with a proven track record of standing strong for conservative principles. We have to protect our majority in the House, win the Senate, and win the presidency. President Trump has made it very clear.
I can't do it anymore. Thank you, Brian, Tyler, Cohen. Well, I believe he's working with MSNBC now. Good on him. He's a fantastic follow for videos like this on Twitter. Multiple Georgia lawmakers, including Lauren's sometimes friend, sometimes rival, Marjorie Taylor Greene, swatted over the holiday.
A property tied to Georgia U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock is the latest target of a swatting call. This after U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and at least 4 state lawmakers were also victims of fake 911 calls earlier this week. 11 Alive's Erica Murphy talked with a legal expert about the potential charges anyone responsible could face if they're caught.
It is a crime that involves simply picking up a phone and reporting to police that there's a crime in progress that isn't happening in order to get a massive police response.
Well, you've got to kind of make it seem like it's something that will get it's called swatting because the goal is to get a SWAT team to come out. So you want to make it sound like there's a hostage or an active shooting situation or something going on. I don't think the reporter did a very good job of explaining that.
Today, a criminal defense attorney tells me that the penalties for swatting are no drop in the bucket, depending on the severity of the incident. We first learned of Republican lawmakers being targeted, and now there are 2 Democrats, with Atlanta police saying it got a fake 911 call for a home owned by Senator Raphael Warnock, and State Senator Kim Jackson's office confirmed she was also targeted. This afternoon, Georgia Republican Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones posted on X that his home was also swatted last night, and his office got a bomb threat. Attorney Darrell Cohen says swatting can happen in just a few minutes.
An unknown anonymous person who was at some point found out calls and says that so-and-so, perhaps someone in Congress, is being held hostage.
That call to 911 describing a fake crime can trigger police to come out in full force, only to find that no one is in danger. Cohen says it's an issue Congress took action on about 8 years ago, passing the Interstate Swatting Hoax Act.
And what that does is it invokes penalties from 5 years to life, depending on whether or not it's the first time the person's been apprehended.
Cohen says there are other variables that go into figuring
to life,
including any injuries or worse that the prank leads to. Several agencies, including the FBI and GBI, say they are aware of these swatting.
We need to take it seriously because people have died in swatting incidents because the police are incredibly incompetent.
Hoaxes, and they are working to find the people who are responsible. Reporting from Atlanta, Erica Murphy, 11 Alive News.
So several Georgia lawmakers also expanded into Florida, where Senator Rick Scott claims he was swatted, I believe earlier today. Senator Rick Scott on Thursday became the latest public official to claim publicly that his house has been swatted while he was at dinner with his wife. These incidents, often targeted at politicians, lately have been targeted at politicians. Before, it was targeted at gamers, streamers. Flash, did I tell you good evening? These incidents, often targeted at politicians, refer to the large-scale response by law enforcement to false calls of an emergency at someone's home. Last night, so it happened on Wednesday, last night while at dinner with my wife, cowards swatted my home in Naples. Scott said in a post on Twitter, these criminals wasted the time and resources of our law enforcement in a sick attempt to terrorize my family. Multiple politicians on both sides of the political aisle have claimed to be victims of swatting incidents lately. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Brandon Williams of New York, both said their homes were swatted. Boston Police Department said Mayor Michelle Wu was also the subject of a swatting incident this past Monday. Greene estimated that it was the 8th time she had been swatted. Technically, she wasn't swatted, though. It was just a false report. If the police did not come out to your house and make you get on the fucking ground, you weren't actually swatted. Somebody called in a false report. Just hate to get pedantic about it. Just saying. Now, what was not a swatting incident was apparently a hours-long standoff in San Jacinto County in Texas. I probably said that wrong. I apologize. San Jacinto. I'll say it like a redneck. San Jacinto County.
Breaking news in San Jacinto County where they...
Oh, wow! I said I was going to say it the redneck way, and that's the way it's actually said. Shocked, I tell you. Shocked.
Breaking news in San Jacinto County where there was a standoff underway with a murder suspect. Our crew arriving just moments ago. This is along Lake Livingston. A live look here in the Holiday Villages subdivision.
I'm assuming I'm wrong, and he got it wrong too, but he lives there, so...
We've just learned the suspect was taken into custody after surrendering about 40 minutes ago. The standoff began around 12:30 this afternoon when investigators spotted a vehicle connected to the suspect. We're working to confirm more details, get an idea of the suspect and what murder he was allegedly involved in as soon as we get the information.
In the meantime,
So yeah, that happening in just the last hours. In the last hours. Spider Pickle bringing up an incident that happened yesterday that we have footage of. This happened in Houston. This is a real swatting. No, swatting refers to a false call. This is just the SWAT team apprehending somebody.
Today, you probably felt the impact from the truck chase. The freeway was shut down in both directions for hours. A necessary move, deputies say, because they were concerned about what could happen. It left motorists stranded, though. ABC 13's Nick Notario caught up with some, including one pregnant woman who nearly ran out of gas because of it. Nick?
Irritated motorists all had the same question for me. Why on earth did this truck driver do that? Well, we don't know, but we do know that he could be behind bars soon, facing an evading charge. That's something motorists say he at least deserves after he impacted their afternoon for hours. These freeway look more like a parking lot than a major roadway as deputies try to get a truck driver in custody. As negotiators tried to get the truck driver to come out, Harris County Sheriff deputies decided to shut down the entire freeway. One of those who was caught in the traffic nightmare was Conchera McCollum.
My phone finna go dead, my dog hungry, I'm pregnant.
Terrifying. Like, why we sitting in traffic? What's going on?
McCollum was one of several people who nearly ran out of gas after getting stuck for hours.
I didn't know whether to turn back and go back up north or whatever.
Drivers weren't the only ones searching for answers. Sheriff Ed Gonzalez says the decision to shut down the freeway was because they weren't sure if it was safe for motorists as the truck driver refused to talk to law enforcement.
We don't know if he's armed. He could have a long rifle or serious firepower in there that we just don't know about, so we got to consider all things at this point.
Shortly after getting the truck driver in custody, deputies reopened the freeway.
They need a DOT need to take his damn license.
Just threw him down.
Because he shouldn't do no stuff like that.
It's crazy. We gotta sit in traffic for nonsense.
You happy to finally get moving again?
Yes, because I was finna run out of gas on the freeway.
An ending motorists were glad to see after the East Freeway turned into a parking lot for hours.
Did you see his face? Was that from them throwing him on the ground?
Drivers weren't the only ones searching for answers. Sheriff Ed Gonzalez says the decision to shut down the freeway was because they weren't sure if it was safe for motorists as the truck driver refused to talk to law enforcement.
We don't know if he's armed. He could have a long rifle or serious firepower in there that we just don't know about, so we got to consider all things at this point.
Shortly after getting the truck driver in custody, deputies reopened the freeway.
They need a DOT need to take his damn license. Because
also, they cut him out of there. Like, did you see the back part of the cab?
He could have a long rifle or serious firepower in there that we just don't know about, so we got to consider all things at this point.
Shortly after getting the truck driver in custody, deputies reopened the freeway.
They need a DOT need to take his damn license. Because he shouldn't do no stuff like that.
It's crazy. We gotta sit in traffic for nonsense.
You happy to finally get moving again?
Yes, because I was finna run out of gas on the freeway.
An ending motorists were glad to see after the...
His face is incredibly bloody. What did they do to him? Jesus.
East Freeway turned into a parking lot for hours. Nick Notario, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
What in the fuck is going on in Texas, guys? Usually it's Florida we have story after story after story. Tonight it's Texas. Texas pulling a Florida tonight. This one apparently now a murder investigation. Just before Christmas, there is a pregnant teen who went missing. Just after Christmas, apparently found her and her boyfriend dead inside of a car. I guess I should probably hit the content warning.
This morning, what appears to be a tragic update in the search for a pregnant woman in Texas. The family of 18-year-old Savannah Soto says she and her boyfriend, Matthew Guerra, were found dead yesterday in a car outside a San Antonio apartment complex, 3 miles from Soto's home. But police are not yet confirming the identities of the victims.
It appears to be a very complex crime scene.
Soto, last seen near her home Friday, was 9 months pregnant and 1 week past her due date. Her family says she was scheduled to be induced at the hospital Saturday, but never showed up.
When I called her all morning, she wasn't answering. It was going straight to voicemail. And we went to the hospital anyways, and she was a no-show. And that's when I called the cops. She was so excited to have this baby. I mean, the house is already baby ready. She was so excited. She was going to be a mommy.
Officials releasing few details, also not confirming how the victims died.
But what we're looking at right now is a very, very perplexing crime scene. And detectives right now are looking at this as a possible murder. And but we don't know for sure.
Officials did say.
Now, I heard the mom speak about the boyfriend. She seemed to say that he was sketchy. That's me reading into what the mom said. This was when the girl was still missing. So whether I took it to mean that she thought that the boyfriend might have done something to her, but it could just have meant that the boyfriend involved in some sort of drug deals, gambling, something like that.
Say the bodies appear to have been inside the car for 3 to 4 days. According to court documents, Guerra was on probation for allegedly assaulting Soto on Christmas Day last year.
I wasn't fond of him because of when he put hands on my daughter.
The family is familiar with heartache. Soto's younger brother died in a shooting last year.
Her family says Soto wanted to become a nurse. Again, police have not confirmed the victims' identities, saying the investigation continues.
Well, also, I didn't pick any of the stories, but just know the entire time that I have been off, it has still been just another day. Mass shooting USA on Festivus. We had a shooting on Festivus. We had a shooting on Christmas. Sparkles, one of Sparkles' co-workers, was in what they thought was an active shooter situation in Nashville. Apparently was not a shooter. United States of America keeps on with its bullshit. Oh, this is not. This was not very. Purgatorius. That's a good question. I have super sour diesel. Is that it? Yes, I'm doing super sour diesel, and it is a hybrid. I'm trying to finish this off because I'm not really getting good hits out of it. I've got like just a little bit left in it. I've got, I'll probably go to green crack as the next one. I've got a whole assortment over here. And it's a sativa. I think all three of them taste the same. DJ Dub, Battle Opossum. He went and got some cereal milk the other day, but it like was the wrong cartridge for his thing. So he had to take it back, and like he was like, "Oh, I was really looking forward to the cereal milk." I honestly can't tell a difference. I can't tell a difference in the sativa and the indica. I can't tell a difference in the flavor. And I've gotten kind of used to them over the last month, and now I'm like all goddamn day. I think it's just called cereal milk. I think that's the name of the flavor. And I feel like he told me it tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Is that right? DJ Dub, you said you like cereal milk? Was it you? Yeah, you're smoking cereal milk. What kind of cereal do you think it tastes like? I may get me a vape pen. This is the disposable. I've enjoyed these. I may get a vape pen. I still prefer flour. I just haven't had a chance to go and get some flour. That's kind of the deal. I even asked Curiouser a few hours ago. It's like, are you going to the store anytime soon? And she just said like no. Like she's mad at me or something. No. Okay. Speaking of burning, a former New Hampshire firefighter has been charged with arson.
A former firefighter in New Hampshire now accused of setting fires. Bradford police say 19-year-old Nathan Nichols is now facing 5 counts of felony arson. They say between May 2022 and September of this year, he was responsible for multiple fires in Bradford and Warner. Nichols will be in court in February.
That is actually a very common thing. Firefighters being pyromaniacs. Yeah, I think switching it up actually when I was there with Chip, he had some flour. Freedom, good evening. And I think because I'd been vaping, I think the flour like hit me harder, like taking a little break. I don't know anything about him. Like, like Sparkles had like a really nice, which she was just vaping vape. She was, she wasn't vaping weed. I don't know. I don't even know if she gets weed for her vape pen or whatever. But she had like a fucking insane contraption, and she had to get coils and shit for it all the time. I don't think I'm that invested in having to, like. She wasn't dabbing though. She's just vaping. This is before like, well, I mean, weed vape has been a thing, but like before, like, vaping oil was really, really common. She's just been vaping. You like that pussy stick? Go over to Idaho, where the trial of Brian Kohberger is ongoing. I'm assuming they're on break for the holiday. But the University of Idaho is defending its decision to tear down the apartment where 4 students were killed that Kohberger is currently on trial for.
Right here at 5:30, take a look at this pile of rubble. This specifically was once a crime scene.
Stab out of a meth pot.
University students were stabbed to death in
it works.
Home. The apartment where the murders happened, that was demolished today. Some of the victims' families, they're not happy with the decision, worried the apartment might have some of the answers to questions surrounding the murders. Brian Kohberger is charged with all 4 deaths that happened last November. He was a
Yeah, I don't understand tearing it down before the trial is over, because one of the things that sometimes the prosecution might do is take you to the crime scene. That happens in several trials, so I'm kind of, were they just trying to tear it down because they want to build something on that land and they want to get it done before the fall, so they have to, lay the foundation in the spring and shit? Is that what we're talking about? Is this just them wanting to, because I believe the campus owns that property. Is this agreed decision?
With the decision, worried the apartment might have some of the answers to questions surrounding the murders. Brian Kohberger is charged with all 4 deaths that happened last November. He was a graduate student studying criminology at Washington State University. Melissa Adon has more as they prepare.
And notice, we get a possible criminal that's studying criminology right after we get a firefighter that's accused of setting fires.
Prepare for his trial.
Demolition crews tearing down the King Road home of where 4 University of Idaho students were murdered last fall, leaving behind a pile of debris.
The house coming down today is certainly an emotional event for the community and most certainly for the families.
Prior to the demolition, the families of victims Kaylee Gonzalez and Xana Coronado speaking out against it, saying in a joint statement that the house as it stands holds key evidence that could help answer important questions for the upcoming trial of Brian Kohberger, a criminology student at a nearby college who prosecutors claim entered the house in the early hours of November 13th, 2022 and stabbed 4 students to death.
I think the family believes there's an enormous amount of evidentiary value in that house. They thought it would be beneficial to give some some more specific statements and reasons why there might be evidentiary value to maybe shake the tree a little bit so people can kind of understand where they're coming from.
The University of Idaho calling the demolition a next step of healing for the community, defending the decision to tear down the 3-story home.
The prosecutor actually communicated with us late last week that even if they wanted to bring a jury in, because the house had been altered so much from its original state, code probably would not allow a jury to come back in.
University of Idaho says the property
Well, that answered my question.
will remain vacant for now as they create a healing garden and memorial on campus.
No trial date has been set for Koberger, who has pleaded not guilty. He faces the death penalty if convicted. Melissa Dawn, ABC News, Los Angeles.
See, I thought the trial had already started. We had a lot of movement in the last few weeks. The case. That all must have been pretrial issues. Let's go to, this seems to be a good story. This seems to be a positive story. This man was rescued after he was found trapped in a truck under an Indiana bridge. Here he is giving us the thumbs up.
Story that we have been talking about all week. How a man survived 6 days pinned inside his truck underneath the interstate in Northwest Indiana.
Today, first responders filled us in on the chaos
6 days
encountered while trying to free him from his vehicle. CBS 2's Lauren Victory shares those details from the scene of the crash.
We climbed to the spot where the trucker was trapped. It's down a ravine alongside a creek through several trees. Tricky terrain that first responders had to navigate with heavy equipment.
These pictures show the conditions first responders were under on Tuesday afternoon. Loose rocks, a steep slope, and darkness quickly approaching. Their mission, rescue the driver inside this truck that is smashed to pieces. Its doors were unable to open with the dashboard and steering wheel pinning the young man inside. Portage firefighters say it took over an hour to get the victim out. We now know his name is Matt Ream, and he was stuck underneath that interstate bridge for 6 days. How did he make it nearly a week in the wild? Here's what Ream told his rescuers.
There was a drain pipe right above him, so there was rainwater coming down when it rained, and he would use his shirt to filter it while he drank it. And then he also used the airbags that had deployed as blankets when he would get cold to stay warm and just try and stay alive.
Ream was airlifted to a hospital where friends snapped a picture of him smiling with a thumbs up. His left leg was amputated below the knee yesterday.
Portage firefighters still can't believe Ream survived the crash, then 6 days out in the wild. They tell me that picture of him with his thumbs up in the hospital makes them so happy. In Northwest Indiana, I'm Lauren Victory, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, Lauren. We have some more good news. This just in. The hospital says Matt's condition improved today. He is no longer in critical condition.
Fucking wow. Well. So this is a story. I don't know why this woman is famous. The story of what I've heard about it is fucking crazy. Probably hit the content warning on this one. I think there was a Netflix documentary or something about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Her mother put her through some sort of medical torture her entire life. And she ends up murdering her mom? Maybe it was a podcast. I don't know. I'm confused. She was released from prison today. Her apparent boyfriend who picked her up, a wrestling fan I saw, had a Bret the Hitman Hart license plate.
Bought these new shoes.
She's just out of prison and going shopping. It's the first video of Gypsy Rose Blanchard with her husband after she was released from prison in the pre-dawn hours today.
Do you have any plans?
Lots of them.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard was a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a condition in which a parent fakes or exaggerates a child's illness to get attention. In Gypsy Rose's case, her disturbed mother tried to convince everyone the girl suffered from leukemia and muscular dystrophy. Fed up with years of unnecessary medical treatment, Gypsy Rose got her then-boyfriend to stab her mother 17 times. They later posted a Facebook message saying that blank is dead.
Wait a minute, why did he... What? Well, I guess maybe he did go to jail? So that the boyfriend is not her husband now?
The boyfriend, Nicholas Godejohn, got life. Gypsy Rose got 10 years. Now 32, Gypsy Rose was picked up by her husband in a Cadillac when she was released from a prison in Missouri at 3:20 a.m. A few hours later came the couple's hand-in-hand trip to the shoe store. The Gypsy Rose Blanchard case has been featured several times on TV. Actress Patricia Arquette played the mom in a 2019 Hulu limited series.
Mirror, mirror.
That's what it was.
Who's the fairest one of all?
You are.
No, you are.
And Lifetime has an upcoming 3-part documentary called The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
The first time I tried to run away.
Well, it feels wrong that she was in prison for 10 years. I think she served 6 or 7 of them. Seems wrong that the boyfriend is in prison. And it seems wrong that she would undergo... How did doctors not know that she wasn't sick with leukemia? This whole thing seems fucked up. Also, I'm kind of torn. It seems very exploitative to be following her around with a camera, but also we live in a fucking content-driven society where she can make a lot of money just being on the internet as a content creator. So I don't know. I fuck like all fucked up. This whole story is perplexing, and I don't know how to proceed. I saw a post about, leaving her alone and letting her find who she is as a person. I don't.
Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
The first time I tried to run away, she chained me to the bed.
Now a new life of freedom awaits this headline-making young woman.
This is quite sensory overload for her. Her world has been beige, and now it's in color.
Yeah, and that's worrying. What happens to her if she's thrust into the spotlight after she's been in 2 different kinds of prison her entire life? I feel incredibly sorry for her. For everything that has happened and for everything that's probably going to happen to her. I hope she's getting paid for all of the Hulu Lifetime bullshit being done about her. But I also kind of doubt that's the case. The New York Times is suing OpenAI and Microsoft. Not exactly sure what for.
And the New York Times is taking a stand against AI technology. Specifically, the company is suing OpenAI and Microsoft. The federal lawsuit is pushing back on the threat of artificial technology and how it poses that threat to the news industry. The New York Times suit claims the 2 companies have been feeding its stories to train chatbots, effectively stealing billions of dollars of work by its journalists. An OpenAI spokesperson said they respect the rights of content creators and they're committed to working with them. Now, OpenAI is being sued by other creators too. Comedian Sarah Silverman is suing the company for copyright infringement. Her suit says she never gave them permission for AI to ingest her book. Other prominent authors joining the cause, Nora Roberts, Margaret Atwood, and Jodi Picoult, signed a letter to AI CEOs accusing them of exploiting their own language and style.
Great. Take them down. Love it. All about it. I get a lot of AI scripts from clients. I'm starting to get AI voiceovers now, and they all fucking suck. Just saying, they all fucking suck. I say that, but I've been paid to help train AI. I did a project, and God, oh man, that one pissed me off. 'Cause like, they were these open-ended prompts that just didn't make any fucking sense. And I had to give it like 30 seconds of asking questions in a happy tone or blah, blah. And I had to do like fucking 100 of these. I had to sit here and bullshit. And I've done numerous projects to help train AI. So like, I'm kind of guilty, but also Justin needs money. Justin got to make that money. So I feel bad. I probably shouldn't do that anymore, especially as a content creator who has to... Oh my God, was that real? I saw that. I saw the post about Elon Musk praising Grok. And then Grok called Elon a pedophile or some shit. Was that real? Because I just saw a screenshot of it. You saw it too. If it was real, mwah, chef's kiss. Content warning, because I have a feeling we're going to get some transphobia in this one. Yeah, it's not even AI. You're exactly right, Flash. I'm worse than a scab in that instance. I'm not even crossing a picket line, but I am doing a disservice to the thing that I do for a living. A transgender actress accusing a Delta employee of intentionally misgendering her in a viral video. Accusing a Delta Airlines employee of intentionally misgendering her. Tommy Dorfman, known for playing Ryan Shaver on the Netflix drama series 13 Reasons Why. I heard that is a real bummer of a show. Came out as a transgender woman in 2021. A roughly 30-second clip posted to her TikTok showing part of an altercation at LaGuardia Airport in New York City. It's currently unavailable. We don't get to watch the video. When you try to advocate for yourself at Delta and are met worth even more transphobia and threats of being arrested at LaGuardia, the post read according to Newsweek. Tristan, the employee, said he was fine with me posting this, didn't realize it was condescending to flag a human rights violation after another employee misgendered me incessantly. The video posted to several other social media pages. Dorfman is filming two Delta employees, is heard saying, "What about when a Delta employee misgenders you intentionally?" Statement to Newsweek, Delta said, "We're aware of the video and looking into the matter, including reaching out to our customer to understand more about what occurred." see if we can. Well, hold on. Apparently I can't watch a TikTok without being signed into TikTok. So I've got to go to my other browser where I'm signed into TikTok. So it picks up mid-conversation. I don't think we see the actual interaction they're referring to.
What about when adults employ misgenders you intentionally?
While he's talking, you're talking.
You just misgendered me again.
Okay.
Multiple times.
Gotcha.
Both of you have.
Sorry. Wasn't intentional, but if you want to take it personal, that's also.
Well, she did do it intentionally twice.
You're talking to me too.
You said she and then you said he.
You're being condescending, and if you want to continue, I have full authority to escort you out the building right this moment if you want to play that game with me.
Okay.
Would you like to continue 3 days before Christmas? I really don't mind.
I'm good. I'll just put this on.
So how long until they try to cancel this guy for being absolutely...
Nobody's gonna cancel the guy. Oh my God. It's hard to tell what actually happened. I mean, intentionally misgendering somebody repeatedly fucking sucks, and you shouldn't do that. And I understand her getting upset about that. But also, people make mistakes and they don't do things intentionally, and you know, like, you want to give people the benefit of a doubt. She's clearly presenting as a woman. She deserves respect, but we can't really tell what happened in the incident. Right-wing media, the only reason I am playing this for you guys is because right-wing media, like, oh, that dude put her in her place, and they've dead named her, I think. I think she might go by Tommy. She went by Tommy before. I'm not sure. They've misgendered her in their articles. They're like, oh, Delta employee puts him, her in her place. And like, from that video, the dude seemed to be handling it pretty well. We don't know what happened in the original interaction, so I don't want to be like right-wing media and jump to fucking conclusions. I understand, like, it's very possible that the employee, her feelings are valid. I understand the trauma that goes with being misgendered. And I understand her feeling upset, but it's also possible that the employee didn't do it intentionally. I don't see how this is a story, but right-wing media will run with it just to be transphobic about it. The right-wingers are morons, and transphobia gets clicks. And that's why I've seen it on multiple fucking Crowder, Daily Wire. They've all been talking about it, because of course they have. Next, we're going to go to Monroe County in North Carolina. People are highly stressed in airports, both the passengers and the fucking workers in airports 3 days before Christmas. LaGuardia. That's the busiest airport in the world, isn't it? It is definitely in the top 5, but I want to say it is the busiest airport in the world. Oh, Atlanta's the busiest. That makes sense because New York has 2 airports. They got JFK and LaGuardia. So not all of your New York traffic is coming through one airport. Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta is like the hub for FedEx and shit too. So that's one of the reasons why it would rank up there as the busiest. So yeah, I want to be understanding towards both parties on this one. Trying to be a much calmer, nicer Justin going into the new year. More understanding Justin.
Hey Justin, are you trolling?
Sorry. We're going to go to North Carolina now, where a Union County restaurant has been sued. They have been accused of altering pictures. What? The headline doesn't make sense to me. They've been accused of altering pictures to show support for drag shows. Let's find out. Let's find out what's going on here, because I need some explanation.
This week, a group of Monroe residents is suing a restaurant over false advertising.
Yeah, the suit says East Frank Supperette and Kitchen is using their photos and altering them, placing advertisements over them. You might remember we first started following the story last year. Some community members were protesting the restaurant's drag shows, saying children should not be allowed inside during the performances. Well, the restaurant tells WCNC Charlotte it's the guardian's choice to bring a minor with them.
WCNC Charlotte's Austin Walker is following the developments and breaks down this lawsuit.
The action shows the photo evidence where the plaintiffs say East Franks took their photos and altered them. Now, the original shows pictures from a protest, but the altered ones have advertisements over it. In the heart of downtown Monroe, East Frank Supperette and Kitchen has been a hot topic. For the past year, backlash from some in the community over drag show performances, taking issues with children being allowed in the audience. And new this week, the controversy hits the courts. A lawsuit coming down this week from community members against the restaurant alleging false advertising.
This is conduct that's gone on for many, many months.
Jason Sneed, an attorney representing the plaintiffs, says the suit states East Franks reportedly used photos from protesters and then altered the images.
Oh, good.
You can see on the left the original picture, 2 women protesting the drag shows, and on the right, the modified image. This time, a poster promoting the drag.
Love it. Love it. I think that's freedom of speech.
Show event with protesters holding signs telling customers to secure tickets. And in another, the same effect, signs against the drag shows covered up, instead highlighting East Frank's burrito special.
The restaurant in Monroe, East Frank Supperette and Kitchen.
Okay. So the photo said, even we can't protest that. This is clearly satire. This falls under the First Amendment. Hey, Sadilla, good evening.
Burrito special.
The restaurant in Monroe, East Frank Supperette and Kitchen, has been taking their photos and manipulating them to create the false impression online that the citizens are in fact supportive of the restaurant.
Clearly satire.
I would like to see children protected.
Michelle Ball is one of the people who's a part of this suit and is seen in some of the changed photos. She says she wants the drag shows to stop altogether and hopes the lawsuit will ensure that.
If it's not your kid, why do you care?
So I care about children. I care about the children in our community.
In response to the suit, Carly Englander, the owner of East Frank Supperette and Kitchen, says they in part, quote, believe this lawsuit to be politically motivated. But this leaves the question, is changing the photos legal?
East Frank Superette probably needs to hire a lawyer.
Gary Monty, an attorney not affiliated with this suit, says no.
You have to have their consent before you can do that.
He says the image altering violates the Lanham Act. It's a federal law which protects people from false advertising and explains it using an example easy to understand.
You can't take a private individual's likeness without their permission and without paying them, and then you use that to sell a product.
Both sides wondering now how this will play out in court.
I don't know, because I think that's clearly satire. Because they're not trying to pass it off as that's my reason. So they're not passing off, like, no one would reasonably believe that those women were holding up those signs in the pictures. They're clearly mocking the protests. That falls under satire. That is protected speech in the First Amendment. I understand when you're using it for commerce. This is actually a very interesting case, because I see their argument. But, like, it's once again, like, if someone was to sue me for what I do on the Troll Patrol, I do a show with a troll head. We are clearly satire here. So it's going to be interesting to see how the court rules on this one. And they might actually teach this case in, like, communications law for years to come. Kind of like how I got to learn about George Carlin in communications law. As long as we're talking about drag shows, one of the biggest organizations, the largest organization protesting drag shows in schools, has been Moms for Liberty. A tense moment when a student tells Bridget Ziegler, the head of Moms for Liberty, that she should be fired from her school board job because you're terrible at your job, not because you had a threesome. This after her husband Christian was accused of raping a woman in their ménage à trois. Xander Morix confronted Bridget Ziegler during the Sarasota County School Board meeting. The board said Ziegler should go after it emerged the conservative campaigner had a threesome with another woman and her husband was accused of rape.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Former high school student in Florida demanded that the co-founder of conservative action group Moms for Liberty resign from the school board. Bridget Ziegler, a close ally of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and a strong voice against LGBTQ rights, was forced on December the 12th to sit through an excruciating meeting of the Sarasota County School Board on which she sits. The board meeting was used to detail allegations that she had a threesome with another woman and her husband, and that her husband, the chair of the Florida Republican Party, has been accused of rape. Since the accusations emerged, Christian Ziegler has held on to his post as the GOP chairman, but has been stripped of his salary and authority. Yes, Flash, like if you digitally alter Matt Walsh to make it seem like he was giving you a compliment.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
GOP heavyweight's wife sat stone-faced throughout the entire school board meeting and was confronted. Did you guys watch the whole meeting on Echoplex? That would be fantastic. We're going to watch the student take her to task here. But I bet the whole thing's a good watch. Did you watch the whole school board meeting? That is definitely the kind of thing Dave would do.
Bridget, our first ever interaction was when you retweeted a hate article about me from The Nationalist while I was a Sarasota County school student. You are a reminder that some people view politics as a service to others, while some view it as an opportunity for themselves. On this board, you have spent public funds that could have been used to increase teacher pay, to change our district lines for political gain, remove books from schools, target trans and queer children, erase Black history, and elevate your political career, all while sending your children to private schools because you do not believe in the public school system that you've been leading. My question is, why doesn't an elected official using our money to harm our students and our teachers for her gain seem to matter as much to us as her having a threesome does? Bridget Ziegler, you do not deserve to be on the Sarasota County School Board, but you do not deserve to be removed from it for having a threesome. That defeats the lesson we've been trying to teach you, which is that a politician's job is to serve their community, not to police personal lives. So, to be extra clear, Bridget, you deserve to be fired from your job because you are terrible at your job, not because you had sex with a woman.
Love it!
He's kicking authority in the balls.
Is she a mom? Does she have children? Oh, he just said send her kids to private school. I'm glad you guys watched the whole meeting. I bet that was fantastic. I wish I was there for that. I haven't popped in on Twitch in a little while. Let's do a couple of Christmassy stories before we get out of here, shall we? And what is more Christmassy than a kid getting a Home Alone pulled on him?
Tonight, millions of Americans are spending Christmas with family and friends. This includes a 6-year-old boy from Pennsylvania. But, as CBS's Christian Benavides reports, his trip to visit his grandmother took an unexpected detour.
For Maria Ramos, it was a Spirit Airlines holiday nightmare.
My stomach was tight, my heart was pounding.
Oh, remember, this is the plot of Home Alone 2. Which apparently Donald Trump is now claiming that the director begged him to be in. Not that he had a clause to where you had to have him in the movie if you were filming in his hotel. That's what we've always heard. That if you wanted to film in the hotel, he had to have a cameo in the movie, and that's why he's in Home Alone 2. This is the plot of Home Alone 2, not the plot of Home Alone 1.
For Maria Ramos, it was a Spirit Airlines holiday nightmare.
My stomach was tight, my heart was pounding.
Her 6-year-old grandson, Casper, was taking his first flight ever. His luggage arrived. He did not.
I ran inside the plane to the flight attendant and I asked her, where's my grandson? He was handed over to you at Philadelphia. She said, no, I had no kids with me.
Instead of flying from Philadelphia to Fort Myers, the unaccompanied boy was sent to Orlando.
I keep thinking about, how about if somebody would have stolen my grandson?
In a statement, Spirit apologized to the family and said the child was always under the care and supervision of a Spirit team member, but Ramos is demanding answers.
How did that happen? Did she let him go back?
Wait a minute. Can you hire an airport to watch your kid? And what? Why is a 6-year-old flying by himself? That don't seem right. Really? So that, oh shit. You can just hand your kid over to the airline and they'll get him to the destination? Holy, had no clue that was a thing. That's pretty cool.
By himself and he jumped in the wrong plane.
At least Casper made it home for Christmas at Chicago's Midway Airport.
We're not going nowhere. No planes going in or out.
Thousands were stranded on Christmas Eve as dense fog.
Well, I mean, that's really cool. I did not know that. Because, like, you know, say you have a parent that lives, you guys separated parents, and one lives on the other side of the country or something. You could mail a baby. Seriously. Take this to California for me. Oh, shit. Learn something new every day.
Descended and more than 100 flights were canceled. Southwest passengers bore the brunt.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm just keep trying to keep a smile, keep a positive outlook to keep from crying.
Today, maybe
that poor woman.
Not all air travelers are feeling the Christmas spirit. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
Overall, I heard that airline travel was pretty smooth. There's about a 1.5% cancellation rate. I said earlier that this was a robber, but I'm not exactly sure what this person is accused of. You can see some people on the street here, and the police released the footage.
He's way back. Put your hands behind you.
Get him, Santa!
Undercover police officers with the Riverside Police Department busting a suspected car thief.
Wait!
He's way back. Put your hands behind you.
The Santa was a cop?
Get him!
I didn't know this. I thought it was just a bystander. Well, ACAB means that's Santa, too.
Santa!
Anywhere as long as it's not Shasta County.
Police officers with the Riverside Police Department busting a suspected car thief.
He's way back.
Okay, I don't like this. What if a kid saw a fucking elf with a gun pulled? ACAB includes Santa, and fucking Santa seems awful sus with this surveillance state stuff he's been doing. Oh, goddamn. Remember. Oh, goddamn it. I gotta go to a different browser again. Fucking TikTok. I guess I should log into TikTok on Google Chrome, which is what I use for the show. We are going to be doing a special New Year's Eve Troll Patrol on Sunday night. Got several end of the year style stories. We'll try to catch up on the stuff that I missed over the last month. On Monday night, you get a best of 2023 Troll Patrol. That'll be on D-Live, Kick, and YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm sure the question on everybody's mind in my audience, how did Puppy Bus spend Christmas?
More mountain mutts. Would you guys like a treat from the Grinch with their bus ride? We got fish dressed as Max. Mina. Carl. Little Louie. Deshu. Gentleman Jake. Amaru.
Hey, Amaru.
Jameson.
He looks like a Jameson.
We got the two sisters back here, Echo and Guinness. Please stay in your seats until we get to your house. Keep your paws to yourself. Tails on the aisle. Watch out for the Grinch. Deshu, are you willing and capable of offloading the pups from the remote trance of an emergency if this sleigh were to come into...
He shook his head.
Carl's ready.
Oh, poor little Carl must have been cold. I'm assuming the owners of these dogs pretty ritzy. This is in Alaska. Mo_mountain_mutts on TikTok.
Hi, Louie.
Oh, Louie. Oh, they're gonna get me copyright, aren't they? I want to see their Christmas pictures, though. I don't know, that kind of sounds like some copyright-free music. You never know with TikTok. Oh, they took pictures with everybody. They don't take all the dogs out on the trail. Like they're well trained. There's actually videos explaining like which doggies get to go out on the trail, the ones that they can trust. Because yes, I have, yeah, the ones that are most behaved and get along. Because I've spent hours watching their, well, probably not hours. I've spent quite a bit of time watching their videos because Bobby Bus is amazing. But they'll like answer questions that they get on TikTok. Look at those faces. Oh God, I got cat vomit to clean up after I get off here. Damn it, Socks. It's like right at the start of the stream, too. What kind of dog you got, DJ? You never told me you had a puppers. We need pictures in the Discord. If I had a house with a nice backyard and stuff, I'd probably have a dog. A Bernedoodle. Oh my God, I bet that is adorable. You better. Any of you got animal pictures, you better be posted in the Discord. Don't be holding out on us now. Is that the end? No, the music just stopped.
Riding with more mountain mutts.
One more time.
It's like a treat from the Grinch with their bus ride. We got fish dressed as Max.
Fish.
Mina. Carl.
Carl is adorable.
Deshu.
Little Louie.
Gentleman Jake.
I don't even know the different dog breeds. I wouldn't even know what kind of dog I'd want to get. Which, I mean, with me, I would just go to a shelter. And I'd probably pick an older puppy.
Jameson. Carol.
I'm a rescue kind of guy.
We got the two sisters back here, Echo
There's too many animals out here that need a home.
and Guinness. Please stay in your seats until we get to your house. Keep your paws to yourself. Tails on the aisle. Watch out for the Grinch.
The breed wouldn't even really matter to me. It'd be
While holding the pups from the remote transfer.
which one I would think I could give the best life to that, like, I don't want to say deserves it. You know, it's which one clicks with me, which one I think I could do the most good with, the most good for. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I am Justin Freakin. We will see you Sunday night for the New Year's.